podcast where people reach their goals and develop confidence one mind shift habit at a time. Let's join our host, Certified Coach Christina.
Are you someone who's entertained the idea of turning your side hustle, hobby into your full-time career? What are some of the things that are holding you back? Where's the mind shift that needs to take place so that you can finally pull that trigger? On this episode of Conversations with Coach, I am bringing back one of my original guests to hear how she has done just that. This is my 1 year anniversary of my podcast, Conversations with Coach. And I am so excited and happy that you're joining me. If you are a first timer, welcome. And if you are a supporter, thank you. As I mentioned, my guest was here previously. She was one of my first 10 to come on to Conversations with Coach. And she and I connected immediately. And it was her drive, her bubbly, infectious personality, and all of the above that attracted me to her. And as I mentioned on this episode of Conversations with Coach, I have brought her back because she has done something that only a few have been able to do. According to a recent JP Morgan statistics, one of the fastest growing demographics for entrepreneurs is Black female-led ventures, representing nearly 2.7 million new businesses in the United States. Now, let me just put that in perspective. There are just a handful of these Black entrepreneurs, but they represent nearly 2.7 million new businesses. Many Black women are taking matters into their own hands and choosing to connect their businesses more directly to the communities they serve. Hi, if this is your first time joining Conversations with Coach, I am your host, Certified Mindset and Confidence Coach, Christina Callaway. I also want to share with you that I am the author of the soon-to-be released book entitled The Mindset Playbook, a guide to help athletes identify and overcome their mental and performance blocks. I partner with athletes, parents, and coaches, and together we develop the tools to increase their confidence and achieve their goals both on and off the field of play. And in this topic that we're going to be talking about, entrepreneurship, turning your side hustle into your full-time job, it's going to take a mindset shift. But to help us do that, I would like you to help me welcome our guest, Ladell Williams. Hey, Ladell.
Hello there. Hello there. What a wonderful introduction. I have goosebumps over here right now.
Thank you. Thank you
Yes.
for coming back. As I mentioned, you're one
Absolutely.
of my first 10 to help me get this podcast started.
And so that had me welled up in my eyes. Like I am all the feels right now. If all the feels with the person, I am all the feels. My eyes are welled up. I have goosebumps. I have so much going on over here. And I'm just like, yay. You can probably see me like,
I can see you. I appreciate that.
I'm sorry. I forgot you can see me, and I'm over here like,
yes. No, it's fine. It's been a year, as you know. It has been a wonderful year, a lot of changes, and I'm so excited to get to talk to you about the changes that are occurring with you.
Thank you.
I want to remind everyone, when you were here the first time, you and I were talking about coming together, maybe partnering and doing some things with our collective businesses. While that did not go off like we had for it to do, you have been able to grow exponentially in what it is that you do. And I say that to say to the audience that is listening and watching, don't be afraid to pivot. And
Wow.
sometimes, even if it doesn't work out, what you've gotten out of it is a wonderful friendship and
Yes.
another resource. So I am grateful and
Amen.
thankful that we connected and that we
Yes.
at least tried it. And I always look at things as not no, but just not right now.
Yes,
And,
for sure.
for whatever reason that is. But I want you to remind the guest of who you are because I intentionally did not do your bio.
Well, I am Ladell Williams, Coach L, and I am the owner of Transition Team Fitness. We are a virtual team training fitness company. And the goal was to help people still have motion and movement during the pandemic. I started in May of 2020, just going off of some of the clients I had previously had as a run coach. I started running as a way to separate myself from motherhood for a couple of hours a week, and then became a coach with a company called Callaway. I mean, he's a person in a company. So I started with him, and people started to talk about how they felt encouraged by me and inspired by me, and they wish they could have me to coach them through life and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, look, I'm trying to coach my own life, so I can't help you all the way. Okay. Now I know somebody. I know a lady, Christina. She can help you.
Thank you. I'll help them.
Yes. So I began the running coach thing, and but it took me away from my family a lot.
Mm.
There were a lot of hours out in the field, as the miles went higher for the type of event that clients were trying to prepare for. It just got longer. So I was helping people train for marathons, half marathons, 10Ks, 5Ks, all of that. And so then the pandemic hit, and I was like, I need a way to work out. I actually use my clients. That's how I stay in shape. It's just
Wow. That works out. It's a win-win for everybody.
it's a hack. Yeah. I thought, well, I can work out with my clients. Then it doesn't make me look like I'm an ogre. You know how some trainers are like, 5, 4. And sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it either.
And let me tell you, as somebody who just recently got back into the gym regularly,
Yes. Congrats.
thank you. I appreciate the fact that my coach or a coach can identify and is not just sitting there barking what for me to do, but can say, you know what, I'm in here with you. And I it's hard too, but you know what, together we're going to push through these last 3.
That's right. That's right.
Know?
Let's get stronger together.
Let's get stronger together. You mentioned that you started a virtual fitness company. And here, what we know is all of 2020 and the majority of 2021, depending on the state that you lived in, that was what most people, that was the only connection that they had to working out with accountability. And I'm very careful with my words because, of course, people can work out, but it's the accountability component that is just so crucial for the mindset when you're doing that, whether it be for lifestyle change or maybe you're just maintaining a healthy lifestyle.
Absolutely.
And I can remember I had, prior to 2020, I had a good bit of equipment in my home, workout equipment in my home, which I think most people did. But there was like maybe a couple of things that I was like, you know what? I had that at the gym. Yeah, I can get that home. I went to try to order it and there was nothing.
Nothing. There's nothing. So that was one of the ways I was able to get my business going is because my clients needed nothing. All they needed was a bath towel. I could get that was it. Yes. So what I would use is the tension that you would put on a bath towel for arms, for shoulders, for holding the abs and things like that when you're on the floor. A lot of the leg exercises, balancing that towel on the leg would put so much tension, even though it was very light. Don't let that towel fall,
Right.
Yes. So I did a lot of that. We could do stretches, you could hold the leg back a little further with the towel wrapped around the arch, or you could grab the towel and pull the leg over and stretch the hip. So that's how I actually got started, was having people use bath towels because there was no exercise equipment. And if it was, People were trying to rob you blind for it, for your money for it. So
Absolutely, they
it was
were.
outrageous, right?
Yes.
Outrageous. So
Yes.
that's the take that I took on it, and made it so easy for a lot of people. And I don't do, things like push-ups and sit-ups. I
Mhm.
do a lot of um, things outside of that, because you can work the core by doing certain exercises, even with your arms and stuff. So
Mhm.
that's how
Mhm.
I get around it. I make it easy. You can always start with me the same day. I don't, yes, that's okay. So I see your face. You're like, what?
Wait, what?
That is one of the other parts of my business. There is no delay in starting. You call me today, we have a consultation. I get an idea of what your needs are, challenges that you might have with different exercises. And by the end of the consultation, we can at least get started with a 15-minute. If you have time later on, we move into a 30-minute, because what happens is once I let you go from that consultation, there's a
Mhm.
lot of factors that start to jump in there. Like you start thinking,
Mm.
oh, I don't have time. Where am I going to put this in? If I can show you right away, we can get started right here in 15 minutes. Because I've had clients start with just 15 minutes with me,
Yeah.
then 30, then move to 45. I really try to put down any barriers of entry for working
Yeah.
out. So that's one of the other things I do. We start right away. If within 24 hours, if they can't do it right away. But I will sometimes at the end of a consultation go, let's go ahead and get started with a 15-minute workout. Well, I don't have anything. You don't need anything. You can actually sit in your chair and I can show you. And then they're sweating after 15 minutes, like, I didn't even know that I could. So that's how,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh man, that is so amazing.
Yes.
And
Thank you.
it is a testament to if wherever there's a will, there's
Yes.
definitely going to be a way.
Yes.
And so you just shared with us how you bring in your clients, how you
Yeah.
got started in the pandemic, and
Yeah.
you took off of the fact that there wasn't a lot of equipment available for people
Right.
to have at home. And if it was available, it was almost unaffordable
Yes, that is
because of
true.
and during a time when a lot of people were laid off or
Yep.
hours drastically reduced because
Yes.
of the situation we were in. So I would like for you to speak to what is the demographic? What is your demographics
Yes.
of your business?
Okay, good. I'm so glad that you asked me. My primary demographic, it is in fact women. I'll just tell you that right now.
Mhm.
I have had men clients. I love to have men clients because I love to prove them wrong, because they're like, there's not much you're going to be able to do with me over the internet. And I was like, try me, friend. So
Yes.
so my demographic is mostly women that are seeking to improve their fitness. Now let me be clear about that. I
Okay.
did not say women looking to lose 20 pounds,
Mhm.
women looking to be bikini ready. I'm looking for women that cannot climb 3 flights of stairs without
Right.
stopping at the first flight. Like,
Mhm.
I don't care how you look. If you can't climb stairs, you can't really get out in an emergency in most cases, right?
You cannot.
You can't. Um, Improving fitness, I'm talking about the people who cannot run when it's time to run and catch the plane at the airport without stopping after 3 steps.
With all
So,
your bags, because
with
you don't
all
want to
your
pay that
bags.
bag fee. Ask me how I know.
I am the airline's worst nightmare. I got a bag and
Okay.
they're like, it doesn't fit. And I was like, it fits. So
Watch me.
watch me. So I work with women that are in their 40s and upward that wish to improve their fitness. If weight loss comes behind it, amen.
That
Amen.
love
That's
it. Love the
yes.
fact that you have identified your people and that
Yes.
you're unapologetic about that. And it's not that you're
No.
excluding anyone else, but it's like
Mm-mm.
this is my people, this is my tribe, this is who
That's right.
I help and who I partner with. And I want to ask you, at when you decided to go virtual
Yes.
and you decided to what was the thought process like? What procedure did you do? How many people did you initially get?
Yes.
All of that.
Okay. So the decision I am not like a business plan, sit down, have a financial statement. I went onto the website for the Attorney General, I think it is.
Yeah.
Entered my name, paid my money, jumped on Rocket Lawyer and made my documents. I was so serious about getting it done. And do not take that as advice for getting started on your business. Okay.
Yeah. Let's just put that out there.
Yes. But I was so serious and so determined. I said that I'm willing to bump my head. I'll keep my financial records in order because I don't want to talk to the IRS ever. But I said, I am so determined to get this started. I feel so compelled that there is a need and a benefit for what I'm offering. I cannot let anything stop me. And so I did that. And then I began to call some of my older run clients that had either stopped running because of the pandemic or had just, sometimes people get those bursts about running and then it's just over. You do a 5K, 10K, and then you're like, oh, I already did it.
I'm done.
There's nothing else. And so I targeted those type of folks. And because that 40 plus, 60 plus, they were in the pandemic, they were saying that they were more susceptible to probably getting it. I targeted them because they were not leaving the house. And the other thing I did is I require a group, whether it's a couple, whether it's 3, it has to be a group because group means, I don't waste my time. And I'm big on that. My time is my greatest asset. If I just depend on one client and the days they don't show, they've held up my whole day because I can't think of anything else until their appointment is over.
Correct.
With a team, someone will show up. Like everybody's not going to be there. But also the team for the client adds that level of accountability that you don't need from me, right?
Right.
And I thought about the price. It lowered the price. If we worked as a group, I could make money. They could save money as well. Then we extend accountability. We also add support. And then people are seeing each other because a lot of us went into a hole. We stopped texting, we stopped calling. Depression got really high.
It did.
And so I thought about all of that and said, something's got to be done about that. So I created this solution. And I do have a yoga instructor on my team as well. I realize everybody doesn't need the pump up, pushing and going hard. So I got my best friend actually is our yoga instructor and she's in Ohio. So,
wow.
And was a stay-at-home mom for over 20 years. And so, I mean, we just brought each other into the fold of things and thought we can make a difference.
And you definitely have. You definitely have made a difference. You made a difference during that period of time, and it's sustainable. And that's what I would like to. How did you sustain your people, and how have you been able to manage and maintain the business? Because, as we know, we as humans tend to be very. What is the word that I want to use? Are selective in our memory, but it's like in the interim, like in the time being, it's acute. But then after things come down and things open back up, people went back inside of their gyms. Tell me how you've been able to maintain your tribe and your business.
Absolutely. Thank you for asking me that, because the way I was able to maintain it is that I had that initial group and they took off like 2 months, right? And then it was like, I think I may have gotten this particular group started in September. I required like a 12-week commitment. Went through the 12 weeks, the holidays. It went right into the holidays. We finished up with the holidays. And then it was like January and they're like, oh, we want to come back. We're ready to come back. I'm like, okay, great. Love it. Well, we started doing like the exercises that we ended with. So so weeks 1 through 12, you're getting stronger and stronger. That 12th week, you were optimal, running like a fine oiled machine. So I started them at the 12-week mark. And guess what? They couldn't keep up. So then it said, okay, we don't need to stop because we're not accountable enough to ourselves to keep it up in the in-between time. And because we didn't, we lost this ability to train at this level. And also they lost their flexibility because we offer yoga and strength as a package too. So this group had the yoga and strength package. And they weren't able to get down as far as they thought. They weren't able to keep going for a good while. So I could show them that things fall off. And that was the
Mm-hmm.
way that they were like, we're going to keep our arrangement going throughout the year, maybe a 2-week break at max, and then we'll just come back. I could show people the difference in their fitness, and that was what got them to come back and to stay with me. So
I love that business model. And it was actually very smart to allow them to see how
mhm.
their need for you and the accountability of the weekly thing. And so you mentioned about your demographic. Are
Yes,
these working women,
they
stay at
are.
home? Okay.
They're working women. I do have some stay-at-home moms. I have entrepreneurs that I work with as well, because I'm flexible now being at home. I can meet you at 4:30 in the morning or 11 o'clock at night. And I have as late as 9 o'clock been online pumping some folks up in the middle of the night, basically, just
Wow.
because that creates no excuses. Like, well, I saw in
Yeah.
your schedule that you don't have any openings. Well, what time do you need? Let me know,
Mm,
and then we can move from there. And one of the things I tell all of my clients, either you will or you won't, you do or you don't. And
period.
everything is a decision. And
It is.
whenever you decided that you didn't want to work out, you made a decision. You did make a decision to not work out. So
Absolutely. Oh
that
my goodness.
you do or
That
you
is just,
don't,
I
you
mean,
will or you won't.
you're, and I love that. I love that quote that I hope you've coined that. But
Yes.
here's the thing that I really admire about you making that pivot from being in person from the running club to being the virtual business that you are today.
Yes.
We're 2 years getting ready to go into the third year of that. So
Hmm.
that is excellent. One of the things though that you have not mentioned to the audience that I happen to know, during this time you also had another business that you were doing
Yes.
so that you weren't doing this full time. Talk about
Right.
that.
Well, I actually had 3 to 4 jobs at one time. So,
Wow.
during the pandemic, I lost my ability to work at a retail store, the ability to work at a retail store where I sold running shoes. So I lost
Hmm.
that, but the pandemic started to pull out of that. I did a couple of hours. I was also a full-time paraprofessional for Fulton County Schools. That was
Hmm.
my bread and butter,
Yep.
basically. And then I also have a real estate company, property management company, and where I have to make a lot of connections. I have to go out to houses and, ugly houses where squatters are in them and take pictures and stuff.
Right.
But I started that business as well because I knew at some point I wanted to leave the actual workforce. So my main job was working in Fulton County Schools. And I stayed there for as long as I did, simply because of the benefits. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that there were other options in terms of benefits.
Ooh.
So, and that's why a lot of us are tied to our jobs because of that, right?
Oh, and it's a real thing. We're not trying to minimize it. Benefits are important,
Mm-mm.
especially if they're just like you, and even if they're not. But if you've got kids, you've got a family, and all of that, and they're depending on that because kids do get sick.
Oh,
We do need to
yes.
go to the doctor, and
Hmm.
so if you've got a job that's offering you decent benefits, you're going to kind of pause, as you should, before
Yes.
making that decision to leave. But you are celebrating a 1 year
1 year.
anniversary
1 year.
of
1 year.
making the
1 year.
decision, yeah, to leave your full-time employment. Talk
Yes.
about that and encourage the listening audience on, if they are kind of on the fence, the
Hmm.
things that you possibly experience as you were, I know you mentioned your husband was super supportive. So community
Right.
is excellent. It's very important if that's a
Yes.
part of it. But what would you encourage, like say someone who may not have a husband or another, income source that could be coming in?
Yes.
What mindset shift did it take for you to finally decide, you know what, I can do this?
Well, I stopped lying to myself.
Oh, good.
Okay. I stopped lying to myself,
Mm,
because here's what most of us do. Well, I can't quit my job.
mm,
I need this and I need that. I quit lying to myself and I said, what do I actually need? What are my needs on a monthly basis? And I had to look at what my budget told me. What did my budget tell me that I needed? What had I made a need that was
Come on now.
indeed an actual want, right?
Yes,
And
this is so
I'm a
good.
person for, short-term sacrifice for a long-term gain. And so one of the things I quit doing was I stopped hanging out. I love a good cocktail. I love to go and just hang out, learn to meet people and all, that stuff. I'm super social. But that was one of the things that I had to cut out. I did that kind of monthly with my friends. And I was like, listen, I've got to pull back. Here's my budget for hanging out going forward. So I stopped lying to myself and I went and got information about what does my budget look like? What will my days look like? What are my options for health insurance? And there are options. We use the health marketplace that was initiated from the Obamacare Act, or that's not what it's called. I'm sorry. It's the American Cares Act. I think it's what its official name. But anyway,
I think originally it was Obama, and then they switched it to.
It did. Okay.
It depends on who's in the presidency, and I think
Yes. So we talked with someone and said, how much does it really cost? Well, Christina, guess what? I found out it cost us half of what I was paying at the county to get insured.
Okay, let's just pause right there, because what we're not going to do is speed right through that. Did y'all just hear what she said? She said, in order to make this transition, so that her passion and the thing that really pulled her, that allowed her to be on virtual 11 o'clock at night when most of us are asleep, what drove that decision is she first went and got education, because there were a lot of things that she believed to be true, and she ultimately found out that they were not true, not in the sense of how she was taking them. The next thing that she said that she did was she looked at her budget. So if you're desiring to make that leap into full-time, turning your side hustle or your hobby into your full-time, it's going to take knowledge, getting information, and it's going to take some sacrifices. Like she said, turning that mirror around and looking at yourself and telling that rock gut truth, as Ayana would say. You just get that rock gut truth. And it's there in front of you, because what we do know is everyone that has a side hustle or has a hobby that they're doing, they won't turn it into a full-time career. Number one, they don't have the desire to do that. They don't want to work that hard, because and it's fine, no judgment. The other group is that they aren't ready yet for the truth. They aren't ready yet to sacrifice hanging out with friends and having those cocktails. They're not ready to sacrifice having to tell their kids that right there, we're going to have to pull back on, or it's going to look a little different for you. So it's in the mindset of telling yourself no, so that you can say yes to something else. And so as we discuss leaving your full-time employment and now becoming your own boss full-time, what have you learned this last year?
Okay. So one of the other things, and this is kind of an add to those other two things, is I made a decision that this was the thing that I was going to do. Okay.
It starts with a decision.
It starts with a decision. And I decided that I would not do anything outside of that. So I have several different skills. So one of the other things is I leveraged some of the other skills that I had into other places. So I have administrative skills, right? I need administrative skills for my own business, but that means I have learned some things that I could leverage into somebody else's business. It still keeps me in the realm of what I'm doing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, or I have leveraged my business with other people in that, like, there's a gentleman named Nick, we both know, Nick Nelson. So Nick,
shout out to Nick Nelson.
Shout out to Nick Nelson.
He's actually, while we pause right there on that thought, Nick is actually responsible for us meeting one another. Remember that?
Yes, that's right. Thank you, Nick.
So Thank you, Brandpreneur. We appreciate
Yes.
that. But
So
continue on.
yes, Nick is in the business of images, right? And the way that people look. Well, so am I to some degree. So Nick and I have like a partnership where if he gets a client that says, I really want your services, but I want to lose 10 pounds, he goes, okay, let me have you talk to Ladell, who can get you, because people may not know, but he has a process that he gets to
He
that part
does.
where he's imaging them, and it's
Mhm.
about 12 weeks.
It
Well,
is.
in that 12 weeks, I'm meeting them too. And we're
Yeah.
on that continuum together. So we
Yeah.
have partnered. But I also do administrative work for Nick. It keeps me
Mhm.
in the realm. So you
Mhm.
outline all of your skills and see where you can level them up into other places that will generate money for you while you're working on your core thing. So I
Mhm.
actually have contracts with other companies that are in the wheelhouse of fitness. They're health related. I work with a hemp company. Hemp
Mhm.
is helping people magically with a lot of health issues and challenges and all of
Yeah.
that. And then imaging, like I have with Nick, I do that as well. So, and then there's other pieces inside of that major thing that you're wanting to do that can spin off as well. So, my business started off focused on fitness. Well, I've pivoted that into accountability coaching.
Mhm.
So, and that all lines up. Sometimes people, they would tell me, I've got Peloton, I've got the Nike app, I've got this, I've got that. And then when I see them 3 months later, they look exactly the same. Hey,
Right.
I saw you 3 months ago. You said
Mhm.
you had these things, and they're like, I know, I look the same. I never got on the bike. I never turned
Mm.
on the app.
You
So
know, that is
I've
a
moved
true
into that.
it's
Yeah.
a true thing because the first part of this year, I got a call from my mom who says, "Hey, I've got a recumbent bike. I'm not
Yeah.
using it.
Yep.
You can come and pick it up." And I was like, "Wait, what?" So it's true. People do purchase equipment with the intent. Now, I know for my mom, because she had had hip replacement,
Oh,
it
yeah.
wasn't, it just,
It wasn't a long
it
term
wasn't,
goal.
yeah, that was not
Yeah.
going to work for her. But
Mm-hmm.
we also know that Peloton shot straight up during the
Yes.
pandemic, and now they have slid
Slid.
way down, to your point that it is the accountability. Yes, you've got somebody on the screen and you've got the potential of, millions of people joining in with you. However,
Yes.
it's something about that personal connection of another
Yes.
human, even if it's a virtual world, but it's something that you can get to. They build a relationship with
Yes.
you, and you're
Yes.
not going to get a relationship from any of these apps out here. You're not
No.
going to get the relationship from any of these other resources. They were good in their temporary state, but for long term, they weren't. Now,
Yes.
I know that we've got some people in the audience who are saying, okay, Ladell, I am super excited for you. I am in that crowd that is just
Yes.
super nervous about pulling the trigger.
Uh-huh.
Um, how did you know when it was time to do it?
Um, I was getting sad going to work. I couldn't help it.
Mm.
Every morning I would get up and I would be sad. I would look forward to seeing some of my students. Like there I have my daughters tease me about it. They say you love bad kids. Just
They're
and
not
I
bad kids. They're just kids that need love and
they
attention.
just right. But from the outside looking in, people are like, oh, and I
They'll
could
label them
not,
bad. Mhm.
yes, I could not wait to see my challenged babies. I worked in the northern part of Fulton County.
Okay.
I showed up. I continued to show up for my brown students, my black and brown students, because a lot of times I would be the only brown face they would see.
Yeah. Mhm.
And that mattered to me. But there became a point where I felt like I was giving more to them than I was giving to my own children. And that made me sad.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
made me very sad. I
Yeah.
kept getting up sad. I kept getting up with anxiety about it. Like, wanted to make sure, especially as we returned back from the pandemic, there were all these rules. You had to spray down and don't touch, and, don't touch kids, stay 6 feet. There were just so many rules. And I realized that I was literally not being paid enough to do that
Mhm.
job. I ran the
Mhm.
numbers. Like
Mm-hmm.
what I made per hour, even with summer break off, what I made per hour was disgusting. It was
Yeah.
it, and I
It
just
is
said,
teachers. It's very sad. And
mm-hmm.
to your point, teachers have such a high demand on them
Oh my God,
pre-pandemic, post-pandemic,
even
it is
worse,
even worse.
even worse.
And what everyone in the listening audience should remember and take into consideration,
Yeah,
their pay has not changed that much since
no,
all of these extra expenses have been added on.
I've watched it. I've watched them. I'm still involved because my children still attend the county where I taught. I've watched them like a 2% raise, a
Mm-hmm.
1% raise, a
Mm-hmm.
$1,000 bonus. Well,
Mm-hmm.
I'll just be honest with you. I was a parapro. I was not willing to go back to school and put myself in debt to become a teacher. I just don't
Mm-hmm.
believe in that. But
Right.
I was a parapro, even though I have a college degree, and
Mm-hmm.
after benefits, my W-2 for 1 year said $13,000.
Wow.
Okay.
I mean, here's the thing. We can love what we do, and
Yes.
most people will kind of side swipe the thing. Well, teachers just love what they do. They're not really in it for the money. That's a lie from the pit of
Yes.
hell.
It
While
is.
teachers do love
Yes.
what they do, they also want to be paid an honest
Yes.
wage for what it is that they do. And if you're a parent out there, you understand what your child's teacher is sacrificing.
Yes.
To Ladell's point, she was also a mom, and she finally got
Right.
to the point where she had to sit back and say, you know what? Number one, I am not enjoying going in here anymore.
Right.
And number two, I'm not being paid close to what I would feel like is my worth.
Yes.
And three, I've got the skills to do better for myself
That's
and better
right.
for my family. And I know
Absolutely.
throughout this conversation, you have stressed the importance of community. You've
Yes.
you stressed the importance of leveraging your skills and being
Right.
able to pivot and pull in other people.
Yes.
And that brings me to what is your take on, most people will say it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Oh yeah.
What is your take on that? And how has that helped you in this transition?
That is definitely true. I end up, well, I mean, look at us. We're here because of who we know. Nick brought us together. I met Nick through another friend of mine. When other people begin to talk about your business and the benefits of it and can share it with others and can refer you, that's on it's who you know. I do no business from Instagram. I use that as a way for people to contact me. I don't do any business on Facebook. I use that. I don't even have a Facebook page for Transition Team Fitness, to be honest with you. All of my clients have picked up the phone and said, I was talking to Sylvia, and Sylvia and I came to the conclusion that we wanted to get in shape. So we are calling you. That nobody has ever called me and said, Instagram, I found you on Instagram and I just know I got to get started.
So important. Oh my gosh. Thank you for sharing that, because there are people out there that, because it's their business, social media is their business, they will have you believing you will not be successful unless you are active consistently on Instagram. And to your point, I'm the same way. I've not gotten one client from Instagram.
Not one.
All. I've not gotten one client from Facebook. I haven't gotten one client from LinkedIn. But it doesn't mean that I don't use those to let people know that I'm
right. Yes.
It definitely comes from who you know, or who you know.
Who you know.
In this time where, you know, it's a risk, you know, when you go out there, most of us are checking reference saying, well, hey, I heard such and such, and what has been and I know that you're participating in that. What's your experience?
Yes.
So the word of mouth is, to me, goes in the same category with cash. Most people think, oh, cash is going to be a thing of the past. Don't y'all believe that lie?
Don't believe it.
Still king.
Yes, it is.
You better keep you some, like my grandmother and them used to do back in the mattress.
Yes.
Because there is going to come a time when these virtual and digital types of monies that we're relying on, we're not going to have access to. And then what?
Then what?
That's a whole nother conversation.
Okay, but don't get me started. Don't get me started.
But in the it's who you know. When you are starting out and you are building your business, Word of
Yes.
mouth is going to go a long way. It's going to either make you or it's going to break you.
That's
And
right.
we see that with athletes all along. They'll be one day high up on the clouds or any type of entertainment, and then less than 24 hours later, they are canceled.
Yes.
So, in building your brand and making sure it's who you know, you're part of that. It's who you know.
That's right.
If they are having a positive exchange with you, they're going to run tell that. They're going to tell,
right.
oh, you got to be a part of this.
Yes.
Because that whatever it is for them, they're going to want their people that they know to know.
Yes.
So it's definitely it's who you know. And you also mentioned in this about you having to sit down and get just true to yourself.
Yes.
Of what made sense as it relates to your financial future, your current finances, what made sense to your family.
Right.
So talk about, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense.
All right. So one of the first things that I stopped doing is letting people waste my time. My time is my greatest asset, and you do not get access to me without putting some money on the line, because my time is just that valuable. So people do not get to waste my time. That's it. That is your number one currency. It is, as much as I love cash, as much as I love credits from my Square account, my number one currency is my time.
It's your time.
How I exchange, how I use my time, all depends on everything else. Okay. I don't believe in cheating my time. You don't get to, I don't have affairs. I don't have extramarital affairs with my time.
Right.
I do not cheat with my time. I don't cheat myself, and I don't cheat my clients with it either. Right. And
I love it.
That's it. That's the real money maker. And I want people to hear this so clearly. You think you have a lot of time, and you don't.
Say it again.
You think you have a lot of time, and you don't. And if this thing that you haven't pushed out yet, that you haven't birthed, that you haven't moved on, and it's been sitting in your belly and it's been wiggling, and you have done nothing about it, you have come here to just sit around and work somebody's 8 to 5, and you know you have something brilliant burning, you are wasting your life. You're wasting your most beautiful, precious asset, and that is time. Quit playing with me.
Girl, I'm telling you, you have just opened up a whole nother thing, because
yes,
I tell people all the time, time is the one commodity that we cannot reproduce. I say it like this. There is 86,400 seconds in one day.
One day.
The deposit, if we were to take that and turn that into money, that's $86,400 every single day that's being deposited into our account.
Right.
The question that you want to ask, and here's the kicker: there is no carryover. Whatever you don't use, or whatever you misuse, you cannot get back. So when the clock strikes 12 midnight,
right,
you have until 11:59 to spend $86,400.
Yes.
The question then becomes, how are you spending it?
That's right.
And how are you allowing others to spend it for you?
Well,
time is so precious.
It is
precious.
And I'm going to tell you, one of my greatest accomplishments, I mean, I can tell you that when I stopped lying to myself, I got the numbers, I got the information about how much I needed. I realized we didn't need that much. We bought an older house, and, we shop at Sam's Club, all of that, which can be difficult for some people. But I really said, I narrowed it down. What do I need? What do I like to have every month? How can I make this work? And so if I don't have one client in a month, how will I make it work? How do I use the money I have to carry over for when maybe there's a dry season? Do the work. If it wakes you up late at night, get your hind parts up, get your diary out, and write out the visions, because that's a part of your 86,000. You said 400.
400.
Yes, that little wake up in the middle of the night, that's a part of that time. You lay there and do nothing. You don't scribe it. You don't act on it, you don't look on the website in the middle of the night, you have wasted time.
That's equal to you taking however many seconds / dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So if it was 60 seconds, that's $60. If it was,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? If it was 5 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
that's $300. I
Right.
think when we start shifting our mindset to viewing time as money, because time is money.
It's our greatest asset.
It's our greatest asset. We're going to spend our time, to your point, you're not going to allow anyone else to waste your time.
No.
Because you're not going to be able to get that back. And
That's
here's
right.
the other thing. As you mentioned previously, we don't have a lot of time. The next second's not promised to us. And the longer you wait to get serious about that thing that you have been given, you are depriving your tribe. Like Ladell has her tribe, I have my tribe, we have our people. You are depriving your people of getting the full benefit of what it is you have to offer them.
That's right.
So whatever it is you need, if you need accountability, if you need someone to be accountability, if you need someone to ask questions because you're like, Ladell has all of these administrative skills. I don't have that, but focus on what you do have. And then it's who you know. You got people within your circle of influence who have what you don't, and you just have not asked them.
That's right.
If they would help you. And so first of all, just congratulations on making it 1 full year. I am so happy.
Yes.
I hope to be joining you very soon.
You will.
I believe I will.
You have a different, that's the thing I want to say. A lot of people are, saying, become an entrepreneur. Wherever you are right now, you know, and you have purpose, stay there. You'll know when it's time to go, just when it was time for me. I love to encourage people, get them pumped up about pursuing their goals. But sometimes you got to stand where you are to move up to the next one. And right now, that's just where you are. That's just where I had that and the reason that I started even getting thoughts about entrepreneurship, I watched an aunt of mine keep a hair salon for 45 years. And I was like, okay. Then I met a woman closer to my age who was a hairstylist. She had her own house, her own car. And I was like, well, where's your husband? She was like, I don't have one. I was like, oh, you did all of this without a man? Oh.
I love it.
I say that to start hanging around people that are doing those things that can help you move to that next level. And if it's not entrepreneurship, then it's purpose somewhere else. But don't you waste one slipping minute on not being in your purpose. I don't care what it is. That's
absolutely. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Ladell. I appreciate you so much. The words of encouragement to thriving entrepreneurs, but those who are still yet striving to fill that itch of being an entrepreneur. And it's not easy, and we're not trying to say that it is, but it's something that if you desire and you feel like you've been called to do it, you can do it. You can do it.
That's right.
This has brought us to our call to action. And from being here previously, this is where I share with the audience how they can get in touch with you. Maybe you're out there and you've heard this and you're like, you know what, Ladell, I need that accountability piece for my health. And my schedule right now is all over the place. What you just mentioned that you do, I see that this is workable. Well, you're going to reach out to Ladell at her Instagram, Transition Team Fitness, and you'll schedule your clarity call through that. Don't worry about this information. I will include it in the show notes. Her website has a different web address that might be difficult for you to copy down. Don't worry about it. I'm going to provide the link in the show notes, and you're just going to be able to click on that. And I want you to go out and follow her. I want you to share this actual episode. Replay it again, because if you're like, okay, I've already bitten the entrepreneur bug, I'm out here and it's hard, I'm at a difficult time right now. Reach out to her and encourage one another. Maybe she can give you some insight on, because she's celebrating 1 year of doing it full time. So she's got a lot of things that didn't work so well and some things that worked.
That is true.
And so you definitely want to reach out to her and use her as a resource to help you take that next step. And this brings me to our final thought. What is the one mindset shift that you would like to leave with the audience when it comes to being on your own?
I'm worthy. I'm worthy. That's it. One of
Mm.
the lies that I told myself is that this is for people like Christina, or this is for people like my good friend Monica, or my good friend Tara. This is for people like them. No, I am worthy. That is it. And when I decided that I was worthy, because when I didn't think I was worthy, I was deciding that too.
Yes. Come on. It was a
Okay.
decision.
It was a
Mhm.
decision. Everything in your, a thought pops up, you decide how you hold on to it.
Absolutely.
It's all decisions, right?
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
I decided that I was worthy. I decided that my family deserved more, because you have
Mhm.
such a very limited time.
Yes.
And not just because your kids are growing, just because you don't know when your next breath is up.
That's
You never
right.
know. I decided they deserve more. And then I decided I wanted freedom. I'm free. I traveled so much this year, and no, I didn't go to the Swiss Alps. I didn't I didn't go to South Africa. I jumped my butt on a Frontier plane in the middle of the summer after, having a planned visit. My grandbaby came early. I had a grandbaby this year.
Oh, congratulations. What does she call you? Nana? What?
Sugar.
Sugar. Okay. I love it.
But it was a beautiful thing, because I had gone on a trip already to visit my very good friend Tara, and my grandbaby came early, and there was
Ah.
no one to help my son's fiance. He had to go back to
Mhm.
work because they were planning that she would come a little later.
Right.
And then there was vacation schedule for other family
Mhm.
members, not like in Tennessee. We're talking about Washington State. So
Okay. Yeah.
I dropped
Complete
everything,
opposite.
completely opposite. I dropped everything with intentions of coming home. I said, I can't come back home. I've got to
Mhm.
go help. And so I ended up being gone for, I think, over 12 days. But I had the freedom to do that. And guess what? I had my phone. I still got my work done with my clients.
I was going to say, you were still able to connect with
I'm
your
still
clients.
able to
You
connect
literally can work from anywhere in
anywhere.
the world.
Yes. And I can't tell you that was like what brought me to tears, that I have done this thing. I am doing this thing. When I held my grandbaby for the first time, and it wasn't looking through FaceTime and ogling up, and I've gone back again and again. I'll go back again because the tickets are cheap and I have the freedom to do it. That's it.
That is, oh, wow. Thank you, Ladell. It's
You're
all a
welcome.
decision, just deciding that you are worthy and that you are
Yes.
deserving of to do this for yourself and for your family and for the people that you are going to be serving. It's
That's
just
right.
so wonderful. I appreciate you coming
I
on. I am
appreciate you.
super proud of you. Happy for you, and
Thank you.
always from your business to your new family member. That has to be
Yes.
extremely special. And I
Very
just want to
special.
thank you again for coming on and being my guest.
You bet. Thank you for having me. You make me so proud, so excited. I'm proud of you. You're doing amazing things. I'm excited about your book. I need to have it as a part of my library. So let's go.
Okay,
All right.
definitely. I will. Well, I'm going to say goodbye to the audience and I'll be right back.
All right.
Wow, this was a powerful, packful episode here, and just knowing that you can go out on your own and do it on your own. Ladell is the example of that. And just like she said in the final thoughts, it's a decision. Decide that you are worthy and that you are enough, and then take the next step to get you to doing it full time if that's your goal. I appreciate you all so much for joining me here for this podcast. And I have some new things coming up. I'm going to be doing my very first virtual book club starting, and it is really exciting for me to be able to do that. So if you're somebody who's very interested in, like me, and you love to read and you would like to be a part of a quarterly book club, shoot me something in my DMs and I will make sure you get added to the list. And we pick a book a quarter to discuss. And pretty soon, my book is going to be one of those books that we're going to be discussing. Thank you so much for following me on my different platforms. I encourage you that if you're not following me on all of them, to please do so, and to also share it with your family and with your friends. As I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, I am writing my very first book, and I'm going to also be self-publishing it. I didn't mention that to you. So I will be self-publishing, and I'll be also an author. And I've got a GoFundMe set up to help support me in that, because that is a huge endeavor. So if you are inclined to donate and to help me in this endeavor, thank you so much. I'll put the link for my GoFundMe in the show notes as well. And if you're an athlete, a parent, or a coach, and right now you are looking for the techniques to be able to push past well, first of all, we're going to identify what your mental and performance blocks are, and then I've got methods to help you to overcome. I want you to visit me on my website, book your 15-minute free clarity call, and let's just do an introduction and learn how we can partner and help one another. And until next time, I hope that you have a great rest of your week. And remember, your life is only as good as your mindset. Goodbye.
Thank you for tuning in to Conversations with Coach. Please be sure to follow Coach Christina on all of her social media platforms. And remember, life is only as good as your mindset.